Hi, I'm Kyle,
I'm John.
and today in a very special episode of JM2 Digital Talk, we're going to talk to our special guest, Mr. Steve Neville.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And today he's going to talk about something that we thought was very cool, and we're very excited to have the opportunity to talk about simplicity. And I know that sounds like a vague term, but you'll see what we're getting into once we get started. So, just kind of going off that word, simplicity. Obviously, since we're talking about online, we're going to talk about websites. And I know we were talking a little bit earlier about website simplicity. So can you kind of expand on that and just kind of tell me a little bit more about what you meant?
Sure, especially going into a new year in 2017. I think in 2016, with websites, we saw a lot of pop-ups. We saw a lot of call to actions coming up. John spoke about it earlier. We saw a lot of websites just taking people straight to the checkout line. And it was really distracting from a reader when he's trying to find out, initially who you are, what services you offer, and maybe why they should buy your product or service. So in 2017, we're seeing a much bigger shift towards simplicity, and I know you said that's a very broad term.
Right.
But in website, terms, it really means shorter menus that describe exactly what you do and what you sell. Simpler designs on websites, getting rid of the banner ads, the call to actions, the pop-ups, everything that can distract you. And really, you guys talked about it in previous videos, switching to more, detailed content that really drives your message, really gets your point across, really tells, the heart and soul of you, who you are, what you offer, and why people should keep reading your website and look more into your products and services.
Got it. And I know, John, you mentioned too about the simplicity of a website has to do with the term that people may not know about called the bounce rate, right?
Yes.
So what is the bounce rate, just to kind of clarify?
The bounce rate is when you do a search on one of the search engines, they go to your site, they immediately see it, and they're turned off immediately from the site, and they go back, they just hit the back button on their browser. That is a bounce rate.
So simple websites kind of play into reducing that bounce rate so people obviously stay longer, right?
Well, it's from a simplicity standpoint, like Steve was saying, when I go to a site, I want to be able to see something that is pertinent to me, which means you have done the research on your demographics, and as soon as I get there, I see something that is of interest to me, and hopefully I click on other pages. Because even if I stay there for 5 minutes and then I click back, that's still a bounce rate.
Got it. And to kind of go off that theme of simplicity, I know another big thing that's happening this year, and everybody from Facebook and Apple have talked about it, is the concept of videos and how videos can kind of enhance one's presence online and how it's kind of a big deal this year more than ever. Now, do you feel that videos can kind of work hand in hand with simplicity? Or do you feel that it's something that can be counterintuitive, or is it just something that you have to kind of work to make them work together? What do you guys feel about that?
The great part about videos is when you are putting a message on your website, there's content and then there's images. With videos, you have both, really. You have bright, clear images that are, and then you have content too with voices and people. It's a great way to really tell your whole story and get people's attention. John mentioned that earlier. It really can drive people to spend more time on your website and spend more time looking around your website. And especially, I used to be a little weary of videos back in the day when, internet speeds were a little bit slower and you could sign on and then all of a sudden you're watching a video and it crashes, your website crashes. Just, but in 2017 when internet speeds are picking up, we're going into fiber and faster internet speeds, less videos are crashing. It's a lot less riskier, and it's a big way to get your message across and use, content and imaging in the same way. So
I like that. Now, John, to kind of just build off what Steve said, he mentions it's a great way to kind of just grab people's attention, and we have internet stability now, so we don't have to worry about any repercussions. Is there just any general rule of thumb that you should follow, like if you want to use video on your website?
Well, first thing is don't autoplay.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Leave it to the consumer, because you're building the website not for the business to promote their products. You're building it for the consumer to learn about your products. So put the video out there. Keep it above the fold, which means on the screen without having to scroll, so that they see you have a video, and maybe to the right or left of it, have your call of action or a form to fill out so they can subscribe to your newsletter rather than an annoying pop-up.
Got it. So to kind of go off the last part of simplicity, and I know we talked about videos, and I know we talked about just general web design, social media, Facebook to be specific, just because that seems to have the Facebook Live feature that a lot of people like now. Now, do you feel that there's an art of simplicity to your social media presence? Do you feel that that has changed as well, just like web design has changed in terms of simplicity? Or is it mostly the same, or even a combination of both?
In social media, it always comes down to connecting with people. And that's really, to put it, in the most simple terms, is in order to build relationships, you have to connect with people, you have to engage, and you have to get them interacting with your company. You can't just be, a lot of times companies think that they can just be a billboard. They can just post their daily drink specials, their daily menu specials, whatever.
Right.
And people will just go to it, and they won't.
Right.
Because there's so much traffic going on social media, especially on Twitter. It's like a highway, And it's just, if you just have a little billboard driving by, no one's ever going to look at it.
That's true.
Which brings me back to simplicity when you're interacting with your customers, potential customers. You're interacting with people on social media. There's a lot of different ways, especially on Facebook, to connect with people. And there's a lot of ways you can just get caught up in the trap of just trying out this, trying out that, trying out this. Be simple in your message. Be clear. Be consistent, and use words and use phrases that get people to interact. I always try to ask questions. I always try to, post a relevant picture. I don't try to overdo it. I always try to keep it simple.
Right.
Because in the end, it's not really the message that's going to just hook them right there. It's the conversation that's going to come afterwards. That's how I feel about keeping it simple.
Now, John, Steve talked about just conversation and engaging with people, and which, of course, makes plenty of sense. Do you feel there's anything else to add to that?
Well, Steve started in on it where, like a lot of restaurants, they post their specials, boom, 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 boom. Even if it's a daily special, post them all at the beginning of the week because you know what they are.
That's true.
And then
yeah.
post relevant information that engages them rather than just being complete sales pitches over and over again. And one thing that Steve said before all of this started was a human has a 6 to 8 second attention span, whereas a goldfish has 9 seconds. So we as people have a very short attention span, so the simpler the better.
Makes sense. Well, I certainly hope, I don't think we had any short attention spans when doing this video. I think we were pretty on point. But unfortunately, that's also all the time we have for today. Steve, again, thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Really appreciate you, and really appreciate your expertise on this matter. It's a great topic. But like we said, unfortunately, we're out of time. So until next time, I'm Kyle.
I'm John.
And I'm Steve.
And we will see you next time. Thank you.